This is the dream of every African football player, to depart with an airplane from Nigeria or any part of Africa and come to Europe. And of course, we are standing in front of the FIFA Pro Footballers Association, which every professional footballer has to be a member of. This is the headquarters in Hoofddorp, here very close to the Schiphol International Airport in the Netherlands. And I think Ogenyi Onazi is also a member of this association, because this association fights for the right of every professional football player that is registered with FIFA. And from the headquarters of the FIFA Pro World Footballers Association, welcome to the African Europe Insights. Okay, viewers, welcome to this episode of African Europe Insights by the Ofehe show. In this episode, we want to focus on one of our own, Ogenyi Onazi, who is a Super Eagles midfielder and also plays for SS Lazio of Rome. We spent one full day following his life in Rome. And he spoke to us in a first major interview with any television station about his experience during the World Cup and how he started his football playing career and how he became a superstar, and particularly about his injury during the World Cup in the match against France, which eventually Nigeria lost. Ogenyi Onazi started playing for the junior team of SS Lazio, where he eventually made it to the starting team of Lazio.
Dai ragazzi, Onazi, il tiro! Oddio che ha fatto Eddie! Oddio che ha fatto Eddie! Eddie Onazi ha bucato la ragnatela! Un gol clamoroso di Eddie Onazi a San Siro, ragazzo mio, entri nella storia, hai segnato a San Siro! Onazi, una botta da 30 metri! Che gol ragazzi! Onazi raccoglie gli applausi e l'abbraccio dei ragazzi, un gol così non lo vedevamo da tempo per un bambino di 20 anni.
And it is interesting to know that Lazio Football Club is a very popular club in the world and one of the biggest club side in Italy. And the club was founded in 1900, which means this year the club it's 114 years old, which is a track record. And over the years they've won two major Italian championships. And also they've won the UEFA Cup once, and then they've won the UEFA Super Cup at one time. Onazi plays for SS Lazio, and currently he's still playing for the team. So we followed him from his home, and we followed him to where he normally takes his cappuccino in the morning before he proceeds to his first major training. We want to do the Italian cappuccino. You know, I mean, Italians are known worldwide for the best cappuccino. So now I'm here with Ogenyi Onazi. We want to do the early morning cappuccino before we go for his morning training. And I hope I can see the difference between the Italian cappuccino and the Holland cappuccino. So do you normally do this? Is it your routine every day?
Yeah.
Come here, take a cup of cappuccino and make it strong. Yeah, make it strong, yeah. And then we followed him to the training ground of SS Lazio, where we joined him at the gym and also at his training. And one thing that was also very significant during our time with him was that his club was actually having a pre-tournament training in Germany, and so because he just came back from the injury he suffered during the World Cup, and also the fact that he had to recover also from playing in the World Cup, so himself and 5 of his club mates were left behind in Rome. and in Rome they were undergoing rigorous training from what you can see here. He spoke also about the Super Eagles, and it is worth noting also that the Super Eagles have been African champions 3 times, and the current African champion, and Ogenyi Onazi, was part of the winning team of the Super Eagles in the last Nations Cup in South Africa. And eventually they made it to the World Cup, and in the World Cup they qualified for the second round of the competition, but eventually were kicked out of the tournament by losing to the France national team. What is also interesting about this young man is that he's very down to earth. He's very dedicated to his training, and he's very dedicated to his Christianity as a religion, and he spoke passionately about his spiritual godfather, which everybody knows, Prophet TB Joshua.
In the university of God, however brilliant you may be, you will not be given double promotion. You will take every course, because each course serves a purpose.
And he said, well, without TB Joshua, he wouldn't have been where he is today. And he also told me that if he had not played football, he would have been a musician. And because of that, whenever he's in Nigeria, and whenever he visits synagogue, which is the church of TB Joshua, he normally plays the instrument with them. And I also asked him about our national team coach, Stephen Keshi, and asked him the question why he if he thinks Stephen Keshi should be retained as the national team coach. He said, well, Stephen Keshi has been a father figure to all Super Eagles players, and that he has actually motivated them. And of course, Stephen Keshi gave him the platform to become the Super Eagles player when Stephen Keshi saw him in a match, in the UEFA Cup match between Lazio and Tottenham, and that he did very well in that tournament and eventually was called up to the national team. So I asked him why the respect for TB Joshua, and he told me that when he was lost, when he was clubless, and when things were really very difficult for him, it was TB Joshua that told him not to worry, that with prayers he will overcome, and that one day they will come and find him and they will call him to the national team. And eventually happened like that. So his respect goes to this man, and then he believes so much in God, and he believes that where he is today wouldn't have been possible if God was not with him.
12-го от ПСВ. Онази навешивает, хорошо закрутил. Онази, дальний удар.
And I also asked him to take us through the moment during the Nations Cup when Nigeria was paired against Cote d'Ivoire, and he said, well, actually the majority of Nigerians didn't believe that Nigeria had the ingredients to win the match against Cote d'Ivoire, but players in the team and the coaching staff believed that they had the capacity to win that match.
$1,000,000 €3 ملايين يورو 4 ملايين يورو والتسديد جول يا نيجيريا.
Eventually Nigeria won that match in the quarterfinal stage of the Nations Cup in South Africa and proceeded to win the African Nations Cup for the 3rd time in a row. Welcome to the SS Lazio Roma television studio. I mean, this is where we're going to be sitting down with our own international football star, Ogenyi Onazi, who plays for this wonderful club in Rome. We're here in Rome to follow his training, to follow his life, to follow how he has been able to settle, and to follow everything that he's doing in Roma. And we hope that you will enjoy this time with us. Well, this is the official the current official team of the Lazio Roma Football Club here in Rome. As you can see, among the players we have our own Ogenyi Onazi. Of course, Ogenyi Onazi is here also doing the light training before the major training. The full squad is actually doing a pre-season training session in Germany. So, but due to the fact that he was injured at the World Cup and he's trying to recover, himself and a few of the other club mates are here doing light workout in the morning. So we can see what they're doing now, following the instruction of the physical trainer. This is, once again, this is Lazio Roma training stadium, and this is the gymnastic department of the football club.
Oh my God, girl, you making me mad. Girl, the way you pull it down, make me want to go mad. Oh my God, girl, the way you grind. Anytime I see you, I'm blind. The way you handle that, oh cool. Are you ready?
Mastercraft on the beat.
Let go! Dangerous. The way you do, girl, you are dangerous. Anytime I see you move it, girl, you are dangerous. Baby girl, you are dangerous. Yeah, everybody know. Oh my God, tell me you're fine. Oh no, 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 no. We want to make you mine. Yeah. Baby girl, you come at me from mine. Take me down to major. The way you handle that. Oh, cool.
I had a chance also to speak with the trainer at the training ground of Onazi, and he told me that they're very proud of him, that he responds with all level of discipline to his trainings, and that he's a guy who's willing to learn. Being the trainer of Onazi, and Onazi being our national team player from Nigeria, what do you think about his response to training, his physical fitness?
Lui veniva da questa problematica alla caviglia che sembra risolta completamente. Oggi, la giornata di oggi è stata una giornata in cui è stato sollecitato sotto tutti i punti di vista, diciamo, nei spostamenti, nei movimenti che può fare durante il campo, quindi lo spostarsi, il cambiare direzione, il calciare, il passare la palla, il dribblare, andare a concludere. Quindi diciamo nella fase conclusiva del recupero funzionale, il problema, l'infortunio mi sembra abbastanza risolto.
You must have watched him during the World Cup. Were you proud to see him play the way he played, knowing that he's somebody that you regularly train at the club level, and also knowing that I mean, he trains with him every day, and now he's seeing him play for the national team?
Beh, innanzitutto l'ho visto con molto piacere in televisione da tifoso, in un certo senso, perché ero contento di questa esperienza così importante. Beh, credo che abbia disputato un buon mondiale, comunque sia mi è sembrato all'altezza della competizione. Peccato potevano fare qualcosa di meglio, però credo che debba essere contento di quello che poi ha fatto.
So what do you expect? Finally, what do you expect from SS Lazio in this coming season? You think you can win the National League of Italy?
Allora, sto chiedendo chi pensa per questo episodio del scudetto, chi pensa, chi vincerà?
La Lazio.
Bravo.
So you sure they can win the scudetto? Okay, so thank you for having time with us. God bless you. Yeah. Can you take us through how you started your football career? Were you encouraged by your parents? Because you know some people couldn't make it in football even when they had skills, because their parents were often telling them that education was key, so they should go to school rather than play football. Did you experience any kind of challenge like that? Were you encouraged by your parents to play football when you were growing up?
Well, my parents, most especially my mom, encouraged me when I was playing football, but my dad wasn't the encouraging type, because he's the type that wanted to go to school, and he never really encouraged me in playing football, and it turns out to be the other way around. When I started coming up little by little, and most of his uncles and his friends were telling him that your son is in the TV, he's playing with the national team. He wasn't interested until the day he got to see me play in the World Cup 2009. That was when he knew that it was a reality, and he knew that football is a profession and not just for fun. Yeah.
Okay. So what were the difficulties? Because we understand that in Nigeria, even as a talented player, sometimes if you don't know the right people, you don't have the money, to push your career, because you basically have to fund yourself when they invite you to certain tournaments and to certain clubs. How did you cope with those times? How did you go through those challenging moments before you got your first call up to the under 17 national team?
Well, it's a little bit difficult because when you're young and you don't really know people for you to get to where you are. The most important thing is for you to hold God very strong and then just believe that God is always going to send the help out. And the most important thing that you have to do, apart from being faithful to God and try to do your thing, is for you to be strong and perfect in what you're doing as a footballer.
Onazi.
Because I believe no matter what, no matter how strong the ball might be, if you're a very good player, it will not hide. It's going to show. And definitely, God is going to bring someone who is going to help you. As it was for me, I was in the national team and God brought my helper who is Prophet Joshua, and he took up my case and he tried to support us in every aspect that we need and make sure we get the adequate facilities we need for us to do very well at the World Cup in 2009. Then started pushing up for myself.
How did you feel when you got your first call up to the Super Eagles? How were you contacted, and how did you feel when you received that invitation?
Well, I didn't know how, but when I went to the national team, then Kesu told me, he saw me playing at a friendly against Tottenham.
Lazio against Tottenham.
Lazio against Tottenham in the Europa League, and then I was really happy because I was the youngest player in the national team, and it came very quick that I didn't expect, and so I was really happy. Then I thank God for giving me the opportunity, and I believe that I'm going to hold the opportunity with my two hands, and that is what I just pray God gives me the grace to do.
And how did your club respond to it that after a while they saw that you became a national team player for your country?
Well, it's a bonus for the club for them to have as much as possible players that they are calling the national team, because it's going to be a plus for them, and that means their team is doing well, and the national teams are seeing great work that the players are doing, which the coach has impact in the players, and so they were very happy, and from there I begin to grow step by step, and that is the most important thing in life.
And you made it to the African Nations Cup. In South Africa, and of course you did very well in that competition, and you eventually ended up becoming the African champion.
Yeah.
I mean, being an African champion, playing for Nigeria, how did that help to lift up your career further?
Well, as you all know, in Africa, when you win an African championship, you're the best in Africa, and in Europe they will have to respect you because in your own field you are one of the best. And with that, if the most important thing in a career of a footballer is when you achieve, you don't relent on your effort. You keep on putting your best for you to attain the height you want to go to. And so, being an African best, the whole eyes will be on you, and so you just have to keep up your game every day. And so that is what I just have to do, because I have to be stepping up my game every day, and that is what I'm trying to do. That God gives me the grace.
Before the South African tournament, many Nigerians were not hopeful that Nigeria would become the champion, and even after the group stage matches, many people felt that the team was going to go out, particularly when they were paired against Cote d'Ivoire in the quarterfinal. What do you think was the spirit in the camp? What motivated you guys? What made you African champions unexpectedly?
Well, everyone who has gone in that competition will all eventually know that you cannot just go and participate in the tournament. You have to come back and achieve something. Everyone wants to win the cup. If not, you will not attend the tournament. And so this is the objective in everyone's mind. And we will believe that since we are not given opportunity in the tournament, we don't have to do same, so that people will say, oh, we told you, they are not going to do anything. So we took that as a point of contact and said we just have to make something different in this tournament. It's been long, over how many years Nigeria have not won the African Nations Cup, and the team is very young. Everyone criticized the coach, criticized the players, and we said want to take this up by ourselves, want to take it personally, and we just believe that it is just we, the 23 players and the coaching crew, that we are Nigerian. We don't believe that there's anyone there, because we know if it is good, everyone will support us. If it is bad, everyone will criticize us. And so this is just what we thought, and then it yielded for us, and we made impact. And
as a young player in the national team, who has really motivated you as a player, either playing for the Super Eagles currently or another Super Eagles player that you may have played with in the course of your football career with the national team?
Well, my number one inspirator, since I was called up in the national team, I would say it's Prophet because.
No, I mean the players, among the players.
Yeah, I'm saying,
okay,
because he's the one who will always call me before every game and tell me how important the game is for me, the nation, and the world at large, and tell me what it means for me to show myself. And that I know, and I put it at the back of my mind because I don't have to disappoint a lot of people, in number one. And then in the team, as a national team, the coach has always inspired me personally. When I come, he lets me to know that, look, this is something you have to make a difference in, and we have to make something out of this. In every game, friendly training and all that, which is my own normal objectives. And then I've had a lot of roommates who always encourage me. I have Femenike, I have Brown there, I have Obina Sofo, I have Uche, and a whole lot of them that have encouraged me. Even the ex-players of Super Eagles, people like Makiwa and the rest of them. So they encourage me a lot. They encourage me a lot and tell me that this is my time. I have to improve myself. You know, the national team is not anyone's. It's not anybody's house. It's when you have the time, you just make an impact and then leave for the next people to come around.
Now we've watched your training. I mean, it's very intensive and rigorous, and according to you, you said this is even, we didn't see anything because it's not the full team in session. And we've seen some of the equipment that has been used during this training. When you play for the national team, during the training, are you exposed to this kind of facilities also? Well, the training camp in Nigeria?
No, we don't have such kind of facilities. And you know, anytime we go to Nigeria, our games are always closed 3 days before the game. We can't do such kind of a training. We see these facilities because it's pre-season training, and this is the time we have to work really hard for the season to know how your strength will be for the season. And normally we don't have such kind of facilities in Nigeria because this is how it is. We just depend on the grace of God, and we believe that God is going to take us through.
Don't you think we have the capacity to have this kind of facilities at our stadium? I mean, when you play for the national team, one is expected that you need to go through rigorous kind of training, to assess your level of preparedness for major tournaments. So why do you think we don't have this kind of equipment here?
Well, I don't really know, and this is the aspect I don't really want to speak about because I think we all know the right things to do, and the right things are being done. Everyone will see that, and I believe that as time goes on, all these things will come in place. It's just a matter of time.
So now to the World Cup, we just concluded the World Cup in which Nigeria got eliminated in the second round of the tournament to France. How can you assess the general performance of the national team in this World Cup?
Well, as the record has said, we've done very well in the record of World Cup. I think we scored quite good goals, and we exceeded where we normally stop. We always stop in the group stage, and we've gone to the round of 16. Well, it's not enough for us because that is not our objective, and because of some reasons and because of football you cannot predict 100%. And so we thank God for the level we've gone to, and we've learned our mistakes from the World Cup. I think it will take us another 4 years for us to really take our time to see our mistakes and then try to do the right thing at the right time as we proceed for the next World Cup, as God gives us the grace to go on.
Why do you think we lost to France?
Well, it's football. There are so many reasons why we lost, and which really I cannot really say at the moment, because we played well, not bad, and the French team, they are also good, I can't really say because when I left the pitch, I went to the hospital and I couldn't watch the rest of the game. But while I was in the pitch, I think everything was going well.
I mean, we expect you to keep on playing for the national team, and for as long as you're injury-free and your performance is at that level, you continue. A lot of people were very, very proud of your performance during the World Cup. What would be your message to your fans out there who followed you during the World Cup? But before you answer that question, that moment where you had that injury in the match against France, did the player come to you and say he was sorry? Did he try to make any communication letter with you to apologize for the injury?
Yeah, even when I was injured, he came and he was saying sorry, it's not intentional and all that. And even while I was in the hospital, my coach told me that he came to the dressing room to apologize for the tackle, and even on Twitter he apologized. And so it is nothing. This is football. It can happen to anyone.
And most people say, well, that was a red card offense. I mean, should he have been given a red card? Maybe Nigeria would have won the match. What do you think?
You know, the fans, they can say a lot of things in their own opinion. But the referee,
in your own opinion,
in my own
injury, they didn't deserve a red card. Well, professional level.
Well, I can't really say because I'm not the referee. They have different perspective in which they see the situation, so they know what to do. And so it is past, and we just have to move on.
And most people say, well, if Onazi was still on the field playing, probably Nigeria would have won the game. What can you say about that?
They would have been right and they would have been wrong, because if I'm in the pitch, we might win the game, and if I'm in the pitch, they might score us even like 5 or 6. So it is two different things. God has a reason why everything happened that way, and so let's just leave it that way.
Okay, finally, what do we expect from Ogenyi Onazi at the club level and at the national level in this coming season?
Well, by the grace of God, I just believe that God is in charge of everything, and I believe that I've gone beyond one step. And so I just want to tell everyone in the whole world that I'm giving another step. Giving another step means I'm going to do better than how I've done. And so they should expect more.
Final words to your fans out there.
Well, just want to say a big thank you to them for supporting us from here and there, their prayers and everything. They should know that we have them at heart and we will never disappoint them. Whenever we make mistakes, it is not intentional. This is just the nature of football. And we just believe that everything is going to be better. We are moving from one step to another. And better is not good enough. The best is still yet to come from us.
So finally, this was a day with Ogenyi Onazi, the Super Eagles national team player, and playing his professional career for Lazio, SS Lazio Football Club here in Rome, and from the Lazio television studio at the training center in Rome. We want to say thank you for being with us, and Onazi, thank you for having this time to host us in Rome. God bless you, and I wish you all the best in your career. Thank you very much. Yeah. My experience with him in Rome was quite wonderful. I mean, I had the opportunity to see the inside and the inside of this young, talented football player who eventually, I think, has many years ahead of him in terms of career. And if he keeps on with this tempo that he's with the way he's responding to training, and with the determination and the tempo that he has in his kitty right now, I see him becoming one of the best world midfielders. I think as Nigerian, we should be proud to have a player like this. So I hope we can learn a couple of things from this young man who has been able to brave all the challenges growing up to make it to the under-17 in 2009, and eventually make it to the Super Eagles, and he's currently with the Super Eagles, and of course we still have to see more of him in future games for Nigeria and also for his club level. So once again, I want to say congratulations Ogenyi Onazi, and thank him also for giving Africa and Europe Inside the opportunity to visit him in Rome, and to be for him to also show us part of what has made him the Onazi that everybody now knows about. He has a lot of followers on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, and he's also connected. He's also helping push this campaign for this recent Ebola disease that has ravaged the whole of West Africa. So Ogenyi Onazi, once again, congratulations, and we wish you all the best. Thank you for being with us on this episode of African Europe Inside. And we'll see you next week, Thursday, same time on same station. For extra scenes from this interview, visit our website www.sonnyofeheshow.com. For inquiries and sponsorship, see our contact details on your screen. Thank you once again, and God bless you all. See you next week.